Have you ever had one terrible day and thought, everything is going wrong? Maybe you woke up late, missed an important message, had a difficult day at work, and came home completely exhausted. Then something small happens. You drop your keys.
You spill your drink.
And suddenly you think, my whole life is a mess. But is it? What if the problem is not your life? What if you are simply having a bad day? This difference matters more than we think. A bad day can make everything look darker. It can make small problems feel huge and make tomorrow look hopeless. Today, we will look at 3 things that can help you see difficult days differently. First, why one bad day can change the way you see your whole life. Then, why you should be careful with big decisions when you are upset. Finally, how to give yourself a better tomorrow. In this Level B1 shadowing practice, listen to my voice and speak just behind me. Follow my pronunciation, rhythm, and emotion. If you miss a word, keep going.
Do not stop.
Let's begin. A bad day does something strange to us. It can make one small problem feel like the whole story. Imagine you have been working hard for weeks. You have finished many tasks, helped your team, and had several good days. Then one morning, you make a mistake. Your manager is unhappy. You feel embarrassed. You go home thinking about that one moment, and somehow you forget everything else. You forget the work you finished. You forget the people you helped. You forget the good days. Your mind keeps returning to the mistake. When we feel tired, sad, or angry, problems can look bigger than they really are. It is like looking at your life through a dark window. The world outside has not completely changed, but your view of it has. That is why thoughts like these can be dangerous. Nothing is working. I always fail. My life is terrible. I can never be happy. Maybe these thoughts feel true in that moment, but a feeling is not always a fact. You can have a terrible afternoon without having a terrible life. You can fail one test without being a failure. You can have one difficult conversation without having a bad relationship. So when you have a bad day, try not to make it bigger than it is.
Say,
today was hard.
Not,
my life is hard. One sentence describes a day. The other describes your whole life. And you cannot judge your whole life from one difficult day. So tonight, before you decide that everything is wrong, stop for a moment. Take a breath. Ask yourself, am I unhappy with my life, or am I simply exhausted today? The answer may change the way you see everything. But here is where a bad day can become more dangerous. Sometimes, one difficult day makes us want to change everything. You have a terrible day at work. You think, I should quit. You have an argument with someone you love. You think, maybe we should end this. You feel tired of your routine. You think, I need to start a completely new life. Maybe those thoughts are important. Maybe something really does need to change. But there is a difference between noticing a problem and making a big decision while you're upset. When emotions are strong, we often want quick relief. We want the pain to stop. And sometimes leaving everything behind sounds like the easiest answer. But what feels like the best decision at 11 p.m. may look very different the next morning. Think about sending an angry message. You read something that makes you upset. You write a long reply. You want to press send. But then you wait until tomorrow. The next morning, you read the message again. Suddenly, It does not sound so good. You're glad you waited. The same idea can work with bigger decisions. You do not have to solve your whole life tonight. You can wait. You can sleep. You can take a walk. You can talk to someone you trust. Then, when your mind is calmer, you can ask, is this really a problem in my life? Or was today just unusually difficult? That question can protect you from making a temporary feeling into a permanent choice. Of course, this does not mean you should ignore real problems. If you have been unhappy for months, one good morning does not make the problem disappear. If a relationship keeps hurting you, you should not ignore it just because today was better. The point is not to avoid change. The point is to choose change for the right reasons. Do not quit your job because of one bad meeting. Do not end a friendship because of one small argument. Do not decide that you are a failure because of one mistake. Give yourself time to see the full picture. A bad day gives you one piece of information. It does not give you the whole answer. And sometimes the smartest thing you can do is nothing. Not forever. Just for tonight. Let the emotion become quieter. Then look again. You may still want to make a change. If you do, you can make that choice with a clearer mind. And that is very different from running away from a painful day. There is one more thing I want you to remember. A bad day can make you forget that tomorrow exists. When today feels terrible, it is easy to imagine that tomorrow will feel exactly the same. But tomorrow has not happened yet. You do not know what it will bring. Maybe you will wake up feeling better. Maybe you will receive good news. Maybe you will solve a problem that felt impossible today. Maybe nothing special will happen. And that is okay too. Sometimes you do not need a perfect tomorrow. You simply need a normal one. A quiet morning, a good cup of coffee, a short walk, a conversation with someone you love, a little more sleep. Small things can help you feel like yourself again. We often think we need a big solution when we feel bad. But sometimes our first need is much simpler. We need to rest. We need to eat. We need to sleep. We need to step away from the problem for a while. Think about your phone. When too many apps are open, your phone may become slow. It does not mean the phone is broken. It may simply need a moment to stop. People can be like that too. When you have too many problems, too little sleep, and too much stress, your mind can become tired. Then even simple things feel difficult. So before you say, "Something is wrong with me," ask, "Have I given myself enough time to recover?" Maybe you do not need to fix yourself. Maybe you need to give yourself a break. And remember, you do not have to feel positive all the time. You are allowed to have bad days. You are allowed to feel disappointed. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to say, "Today was hard." You do not have to turn every difficult moment into a lesson immediately. Sometimes you can simply let the day end. Tomorrow you can try again. That is not weakness. That is patience. So, if today has been difficult, take a breath. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe nothing went the way you wanted. That is real. You do not have to pretend that today was good. But you also do not have to decide that your whole life is bad. Today is one day. It is not your whole story. You have had difficult days before. And somehow, you reach tomorrow. So give the future a little space. Do not let one bad morning decide what you believe about your whole life. Do not let one mistake decide what you believe about yourself. And do not make a permanent decision because of a temporary feeling. Tonight, you may not need answers. Maybe you only need rest. Put the problem down for a few hours.
Sleep.
Wake up. Look at it again. You may see something you could not see before. And if tomorrow is still difficult, take it one day at a time. You do not have to solve next year today. You only have to take care of today. Your feelings can be real. Your problems can be real. But they do not have to become your whole identity. You are more than your worst day. You are more than one mistake. Your story is still moving. There are still pages you have not read. So, if today was hard, let today be hard. Do not turn one bad chapter into the ending of your story. A bad day is only a day.
It is not a bad life.
You have completed this Level B1 English shadowing practice. If some parts felt difficult, listen again and follow the rhythm. You do not need to be perfect. Keep practicing, one day at a time.